You're worth so much more than being induced with fear. And that is what we want to do here on this channel. We want to educate you to become more comfortable and less anxious about food so that you can make informed decisions without fear in your hearts and not the other way around.
Unfortunately, in the medical profession, they don't do this. They don't look deeper.
Today, we're going to talk about the #1 most dangerous meat there is.
Trusting the experts, it's a feature of religion and totalitarianism.
These statements are made for one reason: to create doubt, insecurity, or even anger in you. So let's talk about what we mean when we talk about food fear and why it is so dangerous. And then I also want to explore my hypothesis why so many people that do spread food fear align themselves with the MAGA movement. And then at the end of the video, of course, as always, we ask the question, what does that actually mean for you? So what do we mean by food fear? I want to clarify that we are not talking about eating disorders here. Eating disorders are serious conditions that can have multiple reasons, often psychological and trauma-induced. And I'm not a psychologist, and we will not talk about that. And if you have real eating disorders, or if you think you have eating disorders, contact the National Eating Disorders Association. The link is below in the description of this video. Sometimes, as part of an eating disorder, are so-called fear foods. And those are foods that are deemed bad or good by the person who might have the disorder, and are therefore either completely avoided or purged or overconsumed. And those labels, good or bad, those are often communicated via social media channels.
Worst foods to eat, what are they and why?
I'd like to discuss the absolute healthiest foods that you should be eating.
So if you consume enough of that kind of like media diet, then you can develop certain symptoms. And those are, for example, an increase of anxiety or distress when you're around particular foods, or the experiencing of intrusive thoughts during meals containing certain foods, even if somebody else is eating the meals. Or you can have a lack of variety in your diet. You're eating the same foods over and over again. And then, of course, you have very obsessive thoughts about foods and meals that you might eat, that you might avoid, that you want others to eat, that you want others to avoid. Now, in addition to that, you might also develop a lack of trust in science, government institutions, doctors, professionals, or experts. And that is, in my opinion, the most dangerous part, because that will keep you from seeing experts when it's actually needed. This is what I call externally induced food fear, which is the fear of certain foods and nutrients due to the overconsumption of false information. Let's explore why this can be so dangerous. For once, you can deprive yourself of important nutrients, right? Great example is the hype around carbohydrates. There's a huge variety of carbohydrate sources, and many carbohydrate sources, complex carbohydrates with fiber, like fruit, for example, are extremely healthy and nothing to worry about. But yet, there are people that spread misinformation about carbohydrate sources. Secondly, so you think, oh, if I only eat this, then I don't have to worry about the rest of my diet because I'm doing something good for my body. And that gives you a pretty bad idea about what's actually healthy and what is not healthy. There's no single food that will impact your health more than your overall diet approach. Thirdly, you are at the risk to dissociate yourself more and more from scientific-backed nutrition advice. And that's really dangerous. Decades of research that can't be ignored just because one person tells you something else. And then fourthly, you become more vulnerable to false information because you don't trust your experts, your doctors, your medical advice, and all of that. That makes you extremely vulnerable. And that is the key part of food fear. Some of those people who spread food fear also associate themselves more or less with the MAGA movement. And as I said before, my stance on that is pretty clear, no matter who you are or who you voted for. If you stand behind that kind of movement or associate yourself with a movement that normalizes the kidnapping of innocent people with heavily armed men in masks and put them into concentration camps, then I don't want to have anything to do with you. At that point of time, it doesn't matter how wrong or right you are about other issues. And we all, no matter who we all need to oppose that in the strongest of all senses. Because this...
Hey, that's illegal! No, fuck that, dude. He's not even doing nothing wrong. He takes... What the fuck?
Is what Nazis do. And we are America. And we hate Nazis.
Nazi ain't got no humanity.
So now, this is a hypothesis, and I want you to take it as such, right? This is my own opinion. So what we know is that food fear spreading influencers advocate not to trust doctors and not to trust medical professionals and scientists, but rather trust them. And that is strongman thinking and behavior. And that aligns with the thinking in some circles in MAGA. It's that alpha male manosphere BS. The aim here is to sow doubt in professionals. That is a disservice to the community, but that concept might appeal to some, in the MAGA movement, right? And I think that is one of the reasons why some of those influencers do align them more with the whole alpha male manosphere type of movement. So what does it mean for you? So I'm doing this now for a year, and I want to tell you like 3 telltale signs that if you see them, even one of them, you should be certainly careful and suspicious and get a second or third opinion from a credible source before acting on some advice. So let me go through the list. If someone tells you only they have the knowledge, only I know this, or nobody else knows the truth but me, or they don't want you to know, if this comes up, that might be an immediate red flag. There are plenty of credible resources on nutrition and health, reviewed multiple times by experts all around the globe. They should be taken into consideration when you listen to this. The second telltale sign is specific foods are bad or they're killing you, while others are starving cancer or they repair you from inside. These black and white statements are in 99% of the cases just not true. Nutrition is extremely complex, right? And whether or not a certain food product impacts your health depends on a lot of factors, on the frequency and amount you consume it, for example, as well as on your health and on the rest of your lifestyle and diet. So there's no specific food that will kill you. There's no specific food that's bad for you, and there's no specific food that's only good for you. The last telltale sign is if somebody tells you, I did this study, or the new study has shown, or there is this study.
You'd be able to do that. 2 cups of shake as a smoothie a day combined with the nose spray, they had a 22 times increase in their immune response to the flu vaccine compared to people who didn't have it.
If somebody tells you something based on one study, you should look for 2 things. First of all, did this person give you a verifiable source? If you look into the description of my videos, you will find links to every single study and every single source I cite in the video or I use to create the video. Like this one here, for example. If somebody talks about a study that they read or that they found or that they did without credible source, it's not verifiable. Period. Secondly, does this person put this one single study into the context of the larger body of knowledge, aka other studies? If those 2 aspects are not true, then all this person does gives you information about one single non-verifiable study. And remember, you being worth a lot more than being lied to and being struck by fear. You are worth becoming independent and confident. So this is not about completely eliminating fear. This is about you understanding the information that are thrown at you and being able to critically think and educate yourself whole and fully. It's about creating a healthy, informed relationship with food, a relationship where you truly can start and foster your transformation, your critical thinking process, and even can impact other people. A healthy relationship with food is what you are worth, nothing less. And a healthy relationship with food is key to our overall well-being. So be wary of food fear and develop a healthy relationship with food so that you can improve yourself and eventually also others. I hope this was informative. It was a little bit of a different video, but I hope you liked it, and thank you for subscribing. It really means the world to me. And if you haven't, please follow my channel. It helps a lot, and I see you soon. I'm out.